Hey people, how are you doing today? Oops, sorry, my little thing. My name is Makeda Valletta, also known as the Renaissance Amazon, and in case you're unfamiliar with me, I am a trainer, I'm a nutritionist, I'm very much into the body and health, but I'm also a dancer, and I'm a sacred sexual educator and a doula. So I do a lot of education around sexuality, which is also a part of our overall physical and mental health, right? And so today I want to have a conversation, a let's talk about sex conversation. There was a New York Times article, not New York Times, New York Post article that I saw yesterday that said that women were more likely to cheat. Okay, women were more likely to cheat than men. Here's why, okay? You can look it up in the New York Post. And I found it very interesting. It wasn't surprising to me, and it didn't tell me anything that I didn't already know. And basically, what that was that female sexuality is way more complex than men. Women get turned on by a lot more things than men. Women get bored and unsatisfied a lot faster than men. And what was the other thing? And that women don't just cheat because of emotions. I've always hated when people perpetuate this myth that men cheat because the sex is whack or something, and women cheat because of emotions. And that's total nonsense, because there are plenty of men who cheat because they feel like the woman's not paying them attention. But there's also women who cheat because the sex with the man that they're with is horrible. Okay, and I'm not saying I condone it. I actually believe in open relationships, okay, for this very reason, because I feel like, or let me say openness in a relationship, okay? Like, there could be different levels to it. Some people call themselves poly, but sometimes poly could be too much for people, could be too much going on. So there's different levels to it. But having some type of openness, I feel like in a relationship is important, because even if you say today you just want to have sex with this one person for the rest of your life, you don't know how you're going to feel 3 months from now, next year, 3 years from now, 5, 10 years from now. People change, their desires change, people's habits change. What they need changes, what they desire changes, okay? We're sexual beings. That doesn't mean that you don't want to be with the person you're with, or you don't love the person you're with. In this article, it said, there was one woman who said that having affairs actually kept her in her relationship longer. It allowed her to stay in her relationship longer. And I know that, for me, I've been in relationships with people who I love dearly, but they did not satisfy me sexually like that. You know, like they weren't getting it like I needed to. But then there are other men who really pleased me sexually, but I didn't want to be in a relationship with them. I wasn't like in love with them. They didn't evoke that lovey-dovey feeling out of me. And, you know, people serve different purposes. People don't ever want to have a real conversation about this. And when they do, it's only from the male perspective. And even then, a lot of men get shunned for even saying this. But the men who say it still think it's just them. They think that women don't also want variety. You know, if you look at the sex toy stores, okay, most of the sex toys in the store are for women. So that right there should tell you that women like a lot of variety. You know, women have a clit. That's the one part of the body that is only there for pleasure, period, point blank. The only part that has more nerve endings than any other part of the body, and it is only there for pleasure. No other body part is like that. So that should tell you a lot when it comes to women's sexuality. But a lot of women lie about what it is they want, what it is that they need, you know, because they want to be accepted. They want to be accepted by society. They want to be accepted by men. And most men can't handle women's raw sexuality. Most men can't. And a lot of women stroke men's egos, and they'll accept a man. If their husband cheated on them a few times, they'll accept it. Oh, that's men. But if the tables were turned and the woman did that, most men wouldn't stay around for that. But women also have that side of them. I think women are more, sometimes women are more likely to suppress that. Women, when they don't suppress it and they go get their needs met somewhere else, they're way more cautious about it, so they don't get caught as much. Okay, so that's why this article was saying, even when they hooked the electrodes up to women's brains, they took straight men and they took women, right? And they showed straight men and women different erotic images. It could be 2 girls together, a man and woman together, 2 men together, whatever it was. They said that women's brains, the eroticism parts of the brains lit up in women when it was 2 men having sex, when it was 2 women having sex, when it was a man and woman having sex. And men's brains didn't light up get turned on by as many things as the female brain did. So that right there tells you that female sexuality is very expansive, very complex, very diverse, and there's a lot of things to turn women on. So this idea, like a lot of times the narrative is kind of like, even when people talk about marriage, they're like, oh, women just care about money. And some men think that they have money, that's all that matters. And then there are a lot of men who I know who will say that their wife is no longer interested in having sex with them. And the thing that those men don't know, okay, I was having this conversation with another woman. Now, I'm not saying this is 100%, but if you're a man and your wife or your woman is not expressing interest in having sex with you, but she once did, it's probably because it's whack, okay? And it might have always been whack. It could have not been. Sometimes dudes are good lovers in the beginning, and they get lazy and the shit gets whack. Or sometimes you were always whack, but that woman might have really liked you, and she overlooked that because she felt like it was shallow. If you were great in all these other ways, a woman might feel like it's shallow to not deal with you just because the sex isn't amazing. Or some people think it'll get better, or they think it doesn't matter that much until the time goes by, okay? But trust and believe, I think that most of the time when a woman is not interested in having sex with her man anymore, it's because he's not pleasing her. And when people are married, then they say it's an obligation to have sex with your spouse. So even if your spouse is not pleasing you, you're obligated to have sex with him. As a woman, we're penetrated, right? So when your body is penetrated, that's different than penetrating. And when you're penetrated, your body has to be welcome and open to that. Okay, your body has got to be welcoming and open to that, or it's very uncomfortable. What if a woman feels gassy? Okay, or not even that. What if, it's just like sex is not as comfortable. Like when men get turned on, blood rushes to their genitals, to your genitals, and that, but we see the erection. When women get aroused, blood rushes to our genitals too. You just don't see it as much. I mean, if you really stare at the vulva and really stare at the clit, you'll see the blood engorging, but it's not as obvious and visible as it is with a man. So a lot of men are too rushed, okay? And it's not always that the men aren't pleasing the woman. Sometimes women just wants something else, just the way men just sometimes want something else. But a lot of people are like they can't comprehend that with women. And this narrative is always, oh, women cheat for emotional reasons. This study blew all of that out the water. And again, I knew these things. I've been talking about this for years. I definitely recommend reading the book Sex at Dawn, okay? If you read any book, if you only read one book in your life on human sexuality, period, point blank, I think everyone should read this book. It's called Sex at Dawn. It's a New York Times bestseller. And it was a New York Times bestseller for a reason. Check it out. Okay, so I think I said what I needed to say about this. But yeah, you can check out the New York Post article if you want. I'll post it below on my YouTube that says that women are more likely to cheat than men. So I think a lot of men need to wake up about, women's sexuality. A lot of men are blinded and women tiptoe on men's egos because men can't handle it. Because in most men, okay, there are some men who can, but most men say such dumb things about women's sexuality and the body count and all this and that. If every woman only had sex with 4 dudes, a lot of dudes wouldn't be getting sex. Okay, so how does that make sense to shame a woman because she has sex with 10 dudes or this many dudes? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just retarded. Thank you. And because of that, a lot of women lie and they hide things. But just like men talk about how it's important for the woman to please them and keep them around, dudes, you need to understand the same thing. The same way you might not get pleased and you want to justify going and being with somebody else, which again, I don't have an issue with myself because I don't have the mindset that we're, like, just because you're in love with someone that you can't be attracted to somebody else. So that's just how I think and how I understand. So that doesn't bother me. But I'm just saying, men, if you think that's within you, understand that's within women too. And if women are not falling in love with every dude they have sex with. Men like to tell themselves that narrative too. Oh, a woman can't have sex with a man unless her heart's involved. And it's always emotional. It's not always emotional. I can tell you right now, 90% of the men I've had sex with in my life, there was nothing emotional between me and them. It was purely sex and pleasure. Okay? Like, my emotions have come in when I was in a relationship with someone, in love with them. Well, just because I have sex with you, I'm not going to fall in love with you. I don't care how good it is. Like, so every woman is not programmed like that, the way men say that. Okay? And there are men who have sex with a woman and don't leave her alone. It goes both ways. But all in all, if men really want to learn about female sexuality, a lot of men have to be quiet, observe, and listen, because a lot of men, their egos are so big, they don't understand how much they're not pleasing and how much a woman will skip out and do some other shit the same way that you guys do. Okay? If you have any thoughts on this, please write them below. And it's so funny because so many men perpetuate this myth, and they think that women don't really cheat. Women don't, but it's like so many men have been with somebody's wife or somebody's girl, and vice versa. Which is again why I'm into openness in a relationship. It's meaning you can be open and real, because I feel like most people who are in a so-called monogamous relationship are sneaking around. I'm not saying it's everybody, but the majority. I think the people who are monogamous and truly happy monogamous and truly feel fulfilled completely in a monogamous relationship, I feel like those people are a small minority. I feel like a lot of the people lie, have secret desires, and be doing secret shit. Okay, so I'm just not about the fronting. I'm somebody who can handle the truth, that can see the truth, understands the truth. So I'm not, bothered by somebody who loves me being attracted or wanting to touch somebody else. But that's just me. But also, people have to understand that that goes both ways. If men, can explain that that's within men and men are meant to hunt, women are too. Women are hunters too. If you don't know about that legacy, let me put you on. Women are hunters too in human species and other species. All right? So, I hope you guys have a great day. I'm the Renaissance Amazon. Be sure to follow me on YouTube and Instagram. Bye.